How everybody to another excellent discussions in the autumn brother extra poster discussion will be here at this moment. Hello, Eva, but I'm joined by the girl on East and for sister, so and fan on the how. And so how again to my host for the is on.
Hello, mate. Hello, everybody. It's good to be back. It's very, very, very good to be back doing one of these again. Again, sorry, it's been a bit of a gap between the last one, as is kind of like been the case for a while with us, just in general, with like
Yeah.
Nerdaholics stuff as well. So yeah, so thanks for having me back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've put our channel in the description and the chat now on the screen. So yeah, so hopefully you'll get a couple of subscribers of that. But anyway, but anyway, here's for watching WrestleMania for yeah, want to take you back to the conference and the Rock and Hugh on etc. Are you in favor of them? Are you in favor of the assholes or you or are you he and odds is over it number Warren no basic.
I am invested in the story, but I also do agree with you to a point about Cody Rhodes. Like, I think he's a great worker. I think he's great with the fans and like backstage and all that sort of stuff. Character wise, though, there's just a little bit something missing for me.
Yeah.
Like you call him. I've said this to Tom as well. I'm sure he'll even be hearing us now, going, "How dare you not come in?" Because he likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. When you think of like his nickname as like he's supposed to be the American Nightmare. And okay, I get it. It's like a play on his dad and stuff being the American Dream. But
yeah, but
yeah, you know what I mean. Like he's too like.
yeah, but also but also just the host. I mean, who's the American Nightmare? Him as I told you a couple of weeks ago in the private chat in New York, constantly chatting back and forth. Right, so we'll add on to the discussion.
Hello, Tom.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
Still setting up.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can you see me okay?
No, you're not John Cena, are you?
Yeah.
Sorry, I realised I didn't set my camera up, so I had to run and find it. How are you guys?
So, so you've joined the conversation at the perfect time. We're just having a debate about what their odds, and I'm sure you look forward to sort of a character assassination. What does it go for? Forward than the discussion. Sean already knows what's coming, but as I said, as I said before, what's kind of all the American gimmicks from the old host, because that is his, because that his because that was his aim. As soon as they went back to WC, showing therefore, therefore, we'll just kinda, more, we'll just kinda stole all that side of him. Often I just know about
I
this
can
guy.
see Tom working up a sweat
Oh,
now.
yeah. So I'll get, I'll get a special opinion, opinion on the whole, on the whole odds, situation before I rip Woody Roads a new one, and Sean's already off in the zone. So,
Can't help
yeah.
it, mate.
Mm-hmm.
So, may I ask, why don't you like Cody Rhodes exactly? bar than he's boring.
He's basically on whole character development, and it's the same, and it's the same sort of model as us every everything and go.
Yeah.
I mean, I tend to rabbit the character harder than so. I'll be honest and would dear would is the is the um I'm sort of eye on the Ross. Basically, yeah, opinion that there's no character. I don't.
Yeah. Sure. First of all, Daniel, thanks very much for having me on. I really much appreciate it. And it's really good. And I've watched your channel for the last year or so. Sean's the one who introduced your channel to me, and you always make really good content, whether it's moaning about Doctor Who or giving your opinion on wrestling. So thank you so much for having me on. Before we talk about wrestling, Sean, have you mentioned anything about Cody Rhodes, just to make sure I don't end up just repeating what you said, because I may actually end up agreeing with what you.
Oh right, yeah. No, all I said is basically what I've said to you, Tom, in chats before about how, he's got the moniker of the American Nightmare, but there doesn't seem to be much nightmarish about him. Do you know what I mean? I think he could do with a bit more of an edge, because he's very. Okay, maybe that's what they're going for. They want a proper pure baby face along the sort of Hogan-esque kind of lines, or the next scene or whatever. But I think he's a great worker. I was just saying to Daniel, I think he's great in the ring. I think he's great with the fans. He's great as a sort of figurehead person. But there's just something for me that's just lacking. That's not like, holy shit, this guy's got it all. You know what I mean? But I'll leave the floor to you now, Tom.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm not actually a die-hard Cody Rhodes fan. I never really have been. But one thing I will always give Cody Rhodes credit for is that despite being Dusty Rhodes' son, he hasn't really had the easiest journey to get to where he is. I remember all the way back when he made his debut and he was part of the Legacy with Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase Jr. and himself. Which was, in my opinion, a very dark time for wrestling. I pretty much did not watch the product around that period, so my memory may be a little hazy. But what I do remember is all the podcasters and all the friends I spoke to at the time were all saying, Cody Rhodes, he's never going to go anywhere. Ted DiBiase Jr., he's the next big star. He's the one.
He was awful.
Yeah.
He was awful.
No, I agree with you. He was, but the general consensus at the time is he was going to be the next big star, and he ended up being a total flop. And Cody Rhodes, in my opinion, has been given poor gimmick after poor gimmick after poor gimmick. He had the Dashing Cody Rhodes gimmick, but he kind of made it work, especially when he had to wear the face mask and he was handing out bags to put over people's faces when he came out. So he kind of made that work. And then he had a really good angle teaming up with Dustin Rhodes, with his brother Dustin Rhodes, going against the, I think it was the Authority at the time. I think it was the Shield they faced. Am I right remembering? Yeah. And once again, they made that work. And then he was given that god awful Stardust gimmick, and
oh my god,
which was terrible. And I think he's gone on record saying that was probably the worst time of his entire wrestling career.
Yeah, he has.
But once again, he dug deep and basically got on with the job. Loads of other people, and I don't want to say he kind of made it work, but in a way, like, he wasn't getting booed out of arenas or anything like that, because that gimmick was like dead on arrival, but he still somewhat made it work. Then when he realized that he was never going to get anywhere in WWE, I remember he said in one interview, he said he's going to go away from WWE to basically prove a point to Vince McMahon that he can be a star. And he basically played a key role in setting up AEW, which is easily WWE's direct. I wouldn't say they're a competitor to WWE because they're so massive. But they're kind of like if you're looking at it from a combat sport, they're kind of like one championship fighting compared to like the UFC, maybe.
Yeah.
But it is an alternative company that workers can go to, and he played a really big pivotal role in setting up that company. And then and he was a huge player in that. And then CM Punk came. I'm not saying CM Punk was the reason why Cody Rhodes left, but at that point, that was when the fans started to turn on him a little bit. I think he was a heel towards the end of his run. Yeah. And then he left that company, but he really did work on his star power within that company. And then when Vince I believe WWE approached him, Vince McMahon went to him directly and said, I want you to come back for the company. I think you've got the potential to be a really big star. And and Cody was like, okay, that's fine, but it's got to be how I'm perceived now. I don't want to be Stardust. I don't want to be Dashing Cody Rhodes or anything. I want to be the American Nightmare. And Vince and Triple H like, that's exactly what we want. And he came back. He had that fantastic. I don't think Cody Rhodes, to my knowledge, has had a bad match since he's come back.
No, that's what I mean. Like, as a worker,
he had an excellent program with Seth Rollins. His debut couldn't have gone any better. I mean, his re-debut as he came to WrestleMania 38. Yeah. Had an amazing match with Seth Rollins. He had a great program with Seth Rollins, and I don't think anyone could ever say that you can't give the man credit. He wrestled a Hell in a Cell match with basically his arm hanging off, and he wrestled. I mean, I know we all like to take the mick out of Dave Meltzer nowadays, but he did give that match 5 stars.
Well done, Dave.
Yeah, but
oh my god, that must have killed him to rate a WWE match for 5 stars, because he's not ever really gave WWE any credit in his off.
No, I agree with you, and he's kind of gone a little bit mad recently, and the fact he never has given Kurt Angle a 5-star match, we'll probably talk about that later, but I digress for now. I'll digress for now. And then unfortunately, that injury kind of derailed the hype a little bit. But he came back, he won the Royal Rumble, and I think everyone was somewhat in line with, I think Rhodes is going to be the one to dethrone Rollins at WrestleMania 39. And then when that happened, it sort of like sent a shock throughout the wrestling the wrestling like foundation, because it's like, oh my God, we've got like another, because if Reigns is ever going to drop that title, he's more than likely going to do it at WrestleMania. So we've got another year of this bloodline storyline. And throughout that year, he had a decent program with Brock Lesnar. He's feuded with the Judgment Day. He's feuded with Nakamura, which are all megastars / big stars. I think the company has dropped the ball a little bit with his character over the past year in regards to, it's like they're sort of fast tracking it now. Like he's becoming more aggressive. He's becoming more serious. He's getting the sort of, he almost comes across like a politician sometimes in his promos.
Yeah.
So I totally accept your criticism with that. But that being said, and despite The Rock coming back, he's managed to maintain that, like that sort of, that pure baby face, like Hulk Hogan was back in the day, like Bret Hart was at the beginning of his run, when he became champion, I should say, like John Cena was.
God, Cena.
Yeah. But he's managed to maintain really strong support amongst the fans. And in this day and age, that is a very difficult thing to do. I mean, look, they tried making Roman Reigns that super good guy, kissing the babies, doing all the charity work, and the fans hated him for it. Whereas Rhodes has managed to do where sort of Reigns failed at the beginning of the run. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I understand he still needs work, but do I think he deserves the position that he's in now? Frankly, yeah, I do. I think he's not had the easiest run throughout his career. And I think he is somewhat managing to hang with like I don't know if you saw the back and forth on social media yesterday where The Rock put that video out.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Which is amazing. And I'm so happy The Rock's a heel again, because babyface Rock, it was just getting to the point where he had like go away. I'm over this whole babyface Rock.
It was like basically poo and dick jokes.
And I say that as I'm like a huge fan of The Rock. It was him and Austin.
Yeah, same here.
That really got me into wrestling. And the fact he's embracing this almost mafioso type heel character, it's like a blend of all the heel characters. You see a bit of Nation Rock.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Rock, bit of Hollywood Rock. He's managed to do like this hybrid, but include like this sort of like Tony Soprano-esque persona. And I think it's brilliant. And Rhodes online, I don't know if you saw Cody Rhodes' response. He's like, I'm not watching all of that.
I'm happy for you, but sorry.
So he clearly knows what he's doing in the promo department. And I think that the storyline with the bloodline, Cody's, not so much Seth. I don't really quite get Seth Rollins' involvement, bar than CM Punk got injured. Now I need something to do. But I think Rhodes' story, has sort of, I don't like the whole finish the story thing, but I'll just say it for now. Rhodes' story.
Yeah, I think it's a bit cringy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Rhodes himself does as well. Like he has gone down and said, "Yeah, I don't like that."
No, he doesn't like it. But I think Rhodes has added more to that story with his involvement as well. Yeah. But that being said, then I understand why you wouldn't like Cody Rhodes. I totally get it. It's like I'm not a huge LA Knight fan. I know both of you guys are. Do I understand why he's so popular? 100%. It's just not for me, really.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair, mate.
Yeah, and I think it's I think it's if you go back to the whole sort of last couple of years, to be honest, I was more into Sami Zayn than I ever was the road to hell. So maybe a whole sort of Sami Zayn fan. I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over it and sort of underappreciates what's up, because I enjoyed the amazing being a part of the panel. I do, and I think that's a phenomenal story that and the
Absolutely.
I'm secure. Yeah, and I think maybe that has me maybe I know maybe kinda how did my job and but I'm not sure no but but to be honest though or but to be but to be honest though what um I get the fact that the others answer wasn't wasn't what have you but my but but uh, and as soon as it gets the champion the championship up home on uh, home on for what it kind of old for old after us get the championship up at the in the end because other than getting the championship I don't want to see I want to see how it can last as a sort of perform basically it has to sort of up a character for me to be serious I'm serious so if you know what in case I don't is the championship and the championship and alone would be a short thing.
Turn him heel. He's got a natural like heel vibe about him.
Yeah,
Right. Because he's dressed in the suits. He's
yeah,
got that of almost like Jericho from 2008 potential about him, and he can just be
yeah,
like, "Look, I've gone through all this time about trying to fight my way to the top, and now you could make him kind of like a sort of Drew McIntyre kind of bitter figure, especially if he loses again, and then he can just go berserk and be like,
yeah,
this is bollocks." Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I don't think they will turn him heel anytime soon. But
No, I think that I think Cody Rhodes could be a good heel.
yeah,
I think WWE are now starting to look for that next face of the company that isn't a heel basically, because Reigns,
yeah,
he's basically been the face of the company for the past 5 years or so, but he's been a heel.
yeah,
Add another point to, because I mean I'm trying to look at it. I'm trying to not personalize it with how I feel about Rhodes. It's more like if I was in Triple H's position or Nick Khan's position,
yeah,
what's my vision for Cody Rhodes? To give another example why I think they would want him to be the face of the company. So everybody's talked to death about the terrible things Vince McMahon has done and all of that's gone
oh
in.
yeah,
We won't go over it. But when Cody Rhodes was asked that question at the press conference, he addressed it
yeah,
like an absolute pro.
yeah,
yeah,
Whereas
Yeah.
Triple H fumbled his response.
yeah,
He-
that,
Said, "Yeah, I ain't talking about
as
that.
well.
About positives."
mhm,
John Cena, I couldn't believe. I think he was asked on a podcast.
Yeah,
yeah, Howard Stern,
Yeah, it was Howard Stern. Yeah, I think it was Howard Stern.
yeah,
And he completely fumbled his. It's like you're going to be asked these questions, and I understand you owe Vince McMahon a lot. I totally get it, but I mean, there's a lot of pretty hard evidence pointing to the fact now that, I mean, I think, I believe all the text messages have been released now and everything. And
yeah,
there's a lot of smoke, which means there must be a pretty big fire.
And
exactly.
that's all going to come out over the next few months or so. It's all, all for the world to see, and it's just going to be really ugly for the company. And let's face it, this is another reason why The Rock's come back. He's just become the head, he's just become part of the board, and he wants to get away from that story as much as possible as well. But Rhodes, I thought, his response was, don't get me wrong, it wasn't perfect. It was a hell of a lot better than the senior management, though. And that's another reason why you need someone like him who's going to be reliable. And you see him doing all these really baby-faced things once Raw goes off air, signing autographs. He's really good with the fans. He's just everything you want. He's just a real company guy. Imagine if you told Shawn Michaels back in like 1997 or something like that, we've been building this storyline, but you're going to lose at WrestleMania. I mean, he would have flipped his lid. There's no way he would have signed off on that. But so you need a guy who's going to be a team player, and he is a team player. Don't worry, you can critique his wrestling, you can critique his promos, but from a company point of view, he pretty much ticks all the boxes. That's why they're always going to continue pushing him. I mean, even in defeat, he looks strong. So So
so I'm going to cover and actually ask him, do you not like L in night as much as Ian Sean? Because Tim,
So it puts him on the spot. Is this
but because Tim, he's sort of involved, he's the whole sort of so in going into mainstream sort of culture, because we've had to that of Austin in the Rock in the past, and he or he's a lot of that. And he's a similar sort of a tradition, sort of so in what's into character. Basically, so I don't really understand. I don't really understand the whole sort of asking. So, can you can you in it?
So with LA, Knight, like I said to you earlier, I totally understand why he's popular and why you like him. I don't know what it is. Like when he gets in the ring, his in-ring work really doesn't do anything for me. I think his promos are okay. I think he's borrowed a little bit too much from the wrestlers of old. I don't want to sound like Kevin Nash, but
I was going to say,
I do. Yeah. But
when actually panic about that, I've done over the wasn't even I showed the age of probable already seen, so we'll continue your point. It was interesting, so continue.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way Dan's trying to turn me into the heel in this conversation. But
we're all heels in our own right.
Yeah, I know. Truth be told, Dan, I've got this terrible habit of when I see something becoming really, really popular. Not with all wrestlers. I just sort of because I've sort of taken a step back from wrestling, and then I heard everybody talking about this LA Knight character. But it was also in line with when I had gone back and I was watching The Rock in his prime and Austin in his prime back in the Attitude Era, and they're cutting some of the best promo work you'll ever hear. And then I went in with LA Knight. I think my expectations may have been really, really high, and at least for me, it didn't quite live up to the hype that people were building him up to be. I think he's very good at promos. I don't particularly like his look. I don't like his theme music or anything like that. And I just find his in-ring work, I don't know, it just doesn't really do anything for me. Put it this way, I'll give him this. I think he's been booked quite poorly.
We would say that.
He has.
Big mistake was putting him against Reigns at Crown Jewel.
He
really has floundered since then. And I don't have a lot of time nowadays anyway. I watch UFC, I watch boxing, and I watch WWE. So I don't watch Raw or SmackDown. I'm usually watching highlights the next day.
Sorry, Daniel.
I tune into the host. I tune into the host of the hours. That's basically I host who's theme basically I tune into SmackDown NXT I ramp agent kill and basically I tune in also I've got a pretty so I've got a asked on all each on everything going on in and I asked for the host because
no, carry on.
Do you ever get like that, like with LA Knight? I mean, Sean will back me up on this one. Like, Randy Orton's considered one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and he does nothing for me. I've never been a huge
it's not just me.
I've never been a huge Randy Orton fan, and I just can't really put my finger on it.
I think a lot of it for me,
and it's kind of the same with LA Knight. Like, I think he's a good promo cutter. Sorry to interrupt you, Sean. I think his promos are good. I think his promos are easily his strength. But frankly, I would take CM Punk's promos over LA Knight's promos. I would take Drew McIntyre's current promos over LA Knight's promos. I think the air catchphrase is cool and all of that, but after that, I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't really do anything for me. I can't really give you an answer to it.
I mean, if I was going to be super picky about LA Knight, it would be, and I do like him. I think agreeing with what you're saying, Daniel, about the sort of the throwback and all that. I'm just worried that he's going a bit too kind of catchphrasy, if that makes sense. Like, he's kind of sort of a little bit too kind of And I think if he was to be a bit more,
your point.
Do you know what I mean?
I think if he was to have verbal sparring with someone like CM Punk, who can really think on the fly, I reckon he would get schooled by him. Frankly, I think LA Knight has to prepare these promos in advance. So
that's what I mean. It does sound a bit like structured, which is like some of the stuff that he does say. I find him entertaining, but especially recently, it's been like, like I don't want him to have a suffering succotash moment. Do you know what I mean? Like the way.
God, that was awful. Don't go there again.
That line killed Roman Reigns for like 3
years.
Even Rollins himself was like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? It's like
that promo. I mean, Reigns wasn't popular anyway, but that promo killed his character for the next basically until he turned heel.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sean, I don't get you can't get into for all, and so I think for all it's probable in opposite the most entertaining eyes in the Ross. And I don't really get what you do wouldn't find him entertaining either. I get the point that you find his outfits ridiculous, but other than that, I felt it actually suited this kind of act.
I'm sorry, but when someone's talking to me with 3 sunglasses and going, "I'm going to help you," I'm not going to take that shit seriously. I'm sorry.
Like, I think I agree with you, Sean. That gimmick is terrible.
And don't get me wrong,
it's terrible for a face.
Yeah, and I've liked Rollins in patches. So like when he first turned heel against the Shield, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Like he was just a heel that you wanted to get redemption on, and like I think he's almost kind of there was like sort of shades of the sort of cerebral assassin era for Triple H there. Like he's definitely sort of had his influence from that. And then with this gimmick, it's a weird one because, like I said to you, Tom, before, it makes more when he was kind of going for that weird kind of Joker kind of stuff. It's like, okay, as a heel, that works because it's a pain in the ass and it's really annoying. And you think, right, you just want to slap him. But I'm not having a go at his ring work either because his ring work's brilliant. Like I've never once.
Oh, he's
apart from when he injured Sting. But
he's amazing. First of all, I mean, to pick up on your point with Sting never should have been in that match in the first place.
No, he shouldn't have been there.
Yeah,
there's a horrible decision.
Yeah, and I think it's unfair to completely blame Rollins on that. Sting could have said, "Just don't do that turnbuckle bomb on me." But he was like, "Yeah, do it. You can do it twice." So I don't think it's entirely fair on Rollins. I completely blame the management for the booking department for that decision. But I think Rollins he's an absolute machine in the ring, and he has cardio for days, and he can make anybody look good. Jim Cornette famously said that Shawn Michaels could have a great match with a couch. That's sort of like what Rollins is. You could give him a mop and he would have a 5-star match with it. So his in-ring, he's arguably the best in WWE at the moment in terms of in-ring work.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I just think his character sucks.
Oh, his character, I hate that gimmick. I think it works well for a heel, but for a baby face, it's terrible. It just doesn't.
It just screams heel. Like it screams cocky, arrogant, like unhinged to a point. And I suppose the only thing really stopping him from going back to being a heel is that bloody song. Because it works. It's but it's like
that song. That song was really annoying. So I get messages all the time. You can complaining about that song on almost a weekly basis. And that's
the thing is with that song, being like metal fans that we are, right? The actual song itself, like the instrumentation up until that is really cool. It's like really heavy, and then it just suddenly goes into come on, you let yourself.
I've listened to that song on YouTube just on its own because I can never quite work out what it is because the crowd is so loud.
Yeah,
it literally sounds like 3 or 4 different riffs from different songs have just been spliced together. So it's a little bit jarring to me.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, but I thought I'm nitpicking on that. My main problem with Rollins is I don't like that gimmick. What is it? What's the gimmick?
Visionary.
Oh
yeah. Whatever it is, it's rubbish. So I don't think it works as a face. And like Sean said, he rocked up to Australia with 3 sunglasses on, and I just couldn't take him seriously whatsoever. And
the fact that even Roman's like, "Oh, you turned up to work in your wife's shoes," and it's like, yes,
I mean, it's like you look at Rock and Roman as a tag team, and they look like, me and Sean often say this, but they look like Dark Souls bosses when you put them together.
Yeah.
And then you see Rhodes, who's got a good look, but he's next to someone who's dressed like a complete clown emoji, as The Rock said on his promo, and it's like, I know who I'm betting my money on if I was in a real fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I just think it's a shame because I think Rollins is such a great in-ring performer, and he's pretty good on the mic. He's pretty good on the mic.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that gimmick is terrible. I hope he drops it or he goes back to being a heel after WrestleMania.
Yeah. Just put the right gear back on, mate.
Yeah, also I wanted to ask, do you think Damien or East is set up to have a field action because it keeps him oozing on Raw every week and he keeps him jobbing and out no, so it doesn't really recall that good for East to go for all. I think maybe Triple H has had enough of it, Damien Priest. And I don't get
Well,
I don't.
because he is good and I know you go back to the Ash Water equals he fighting he's doing all these massive odds in the street. He fight with bad. Only he should be a ghost. Him, Ian, if he can excel abilities on, in, okay, or I'm sure he should be a ghost. Than what he is.
I think his whole...
I don't even know who Damian Priest is. So no, I'm joking. Yeah.
I think his whole Money in the Bank run was literally a reaction to the reaction that they got at the Puerto Rico thing.
I totally agree with you.
And I think ever since then, I think he's been a failed cast. It's just been a complete disaster.
And let's face it, they were super over for Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Well. And don't get me wrong, he, like you say, Daniel, he's decent in the ring. I think my favourite bit about him is that he's got a move called the South of Heaven Chokeslam. Which, being Slayer fans, that I appreciate that. But other than that, it's like, he's got like hallmarks of Scott Hall, but he's not as good as Scott Hall. Let's face it. No, don't get
what's his submission called? Is it like Sex Murder Art or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raining Blood STM.
Yeah.
But I think by now, I think it's gone on too long. Like, you're going to cash in. Either you do it relatively soon after you've won it, or you do it like WrestleMania or something like that. And I just think it's just dragged on too long now. So,
I echo everything Sean said.
But to be, though I do enjoy the judgment, the judgment years of action because it's helped. Because it's helped him reset Finn Balor. Or it's helped give Rhea Ripley a character. It's helped her develop him, and it's even helped Dominic his hero who's actually entertaining I look forward to seeing his hero. I look forward to seeing Dominic his hero every Monday night. Oh, and I've said or he knew the other about he reminds me China and Eddie Guerrero. So
yeah, that's a good shout actually. Yeah. I've Dominic's definitely grown on me. Like it's the way that he's kind of got that kind of Vicky Guerrero, just ultimate everyone hates you kind of heat. But he plays it really well. Like the fact that he stops for pauses as soon as like the crowd start booing, and then he goes again and he does it, and he's definitely grown into that role. I think at first it was like genuine go away heat, but now I think he's grown into it quite nicely. But I just think, isn't it ironic how Damien Priest seems to be like the least sort of progressed character in his own faction? You know, I think everyone else has sort of taken the spotlight from him. And when you're saying about Finn Balor being reset, I think he desperately needed it, because again, he was way too kind of just sort of lost in the shuffle a bit with his character. It's like sometimes you think, oh, he's going to bring
NXT, didn't he? He went back to NXT for a bit, and that kind of revitalized his character. Then he came back to the main roster again. I think Dominic Mysterio is great. He's actually one of my favorite guys on the roster.
Yeah, same here.
That reaction he got in Australia was, I haven't heard a heel get, but that's not go away heat. Like we don't care about you heat. That's like we hate you heat.
That's
we
proper,
hate
like,
your character heat.
That's like proper pantomime villain heat, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's great. He's really good, and he's so good at playing up to the crowd. You could barely hear him when he was cutting that promo. The crowd, like, oh my god. I haven't seen a heel get booed like that in a very, very long time.
Exactly. Yeah. But and to your point about Rhea Ripley, it's like, I don't know. I think maybe they've got to the point as far as they can go with her now in this particular character. I've got a sneaking suspicion they're going to turn her face soon.
I strongly disagree with you. And you know, and you knew that was coming, so because you know, as you know how as you know how high they are up till. So, you know, I just actually think that Carrie, or is that's actually he soft, he her out a bit more, and she's more sort of confident. It is, but um it is, but if worship is just kinda on the Ross, and she didn't really do anything on me. Also, she's become or a stable ish on the Ross. No.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think she was more.
Maybe she could be a tweener.
Yeah, I think she was more compelling last year when she was sort of facing Charlotte, and there was that. This is like almost like the Brock Lesnar of the women's division now. The way that they're sort of building her up as this like monster kind of character. But I think, and then then she won the title, and that was great, and she had momentum, and that was cool. And it's like, but when you look at some of the women on the roster, and you think, realistically, I can't, like, none of these women stand any kind of a chance against her in terms of like actually being able to beat her in a fight or a wrestling match. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, if you're looking,
and your Jake Cargill, maybe if they sort out sort of storyline hands for Jade, because it's been ages now at this point, and she's been signed, and she's only appeared in the Royal Rumble and backstage segment. And I think Jade is the only sort of credible challenger for Rhea up till to be honest, but they need to start building Jade up though, because she's not really been on TV so far.
Yeah, I think maybe it could be a good thing that they're not rushing her, because she's in the performance center, and then because from what I saw of her from AEW, it's like she's got a great look, but beyond that, there wasn't much there. So, and I think now that probably wasn't all her fault. I just think AEW is just it anyway. But I think now they're like, right, we've got this. She could be $1 million. Let's not rush her. Let's just make sure she hones her craft. Then, like, just push her to the moon when the time's right.
Yeah.
Going back to Rhea Ripley, if you're looking at it from a believability point of view, there's really only a handful of women on that roster that you can sort of believe that she could lose a fight to. You know, Jade Cargill's one. What's her name?
Bianca.
Bianca Belair, and probably.
Oh, jeez. Jesus, I knew that.
Physically, yeah. Daniel's really not a fan of Bianca Belair's character, and to a point, I do agree. It's kind of
I'm just talking from believability point of view, whether I like.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but yeah, you see, the thing is, so, she's had the same character since NXT, and it's like, Jesus Christ, so we aren't going to turn heel or get off my mask, or bring yourself no purpose. Oh.
And you introduced me as the grumpy one.
Yeah.
Totally get it though. Yeah, it's what's your nickname for Daniel?
Oh yeah, call him. Call him Orange. Yeah, and she just she's not exciting. Oh, she's not exciting at all. She's just and the whole stuff has is it's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, and again, she's another one you think, you could put her as a heel, and then you could have maybe like Jade as the face, and going into that kind of.
I don't think they'll be turning Bianca Belair heel anytime soon. She's got like this new show out that they're promoting.
Oh, what with
and the kids love her. I mean, truth be told, I'm sort of out of touch with the women's roster, so I can't. That's why I've gone a little bit quiet. I can't really comment.
That's all right, mate.
Rhea Ripley is really the only one I kind of somewhat follow. She's facing Becky Lynch, right, at Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's it's Bailey. Bailey's facing
Heel Sky.
But,
that was
but basically it's basically Bailey against Damage Control because of what Dakota did yesterday. So that was kind of obvious that was going to happen.
What do you think of Bailey's promos? I watched her promo the other day, and she cut her promo with the conviction of a girl who'd been stood up on a date or something. Like, I didn't find it believable at all.
I enjoy her in the ring, but she has to prove a bit in promos. To be honest, she's not really evolved as a promo. To be honest.
I think she comes out with some funny stuff on social media in there, like when she's
funny on
social like the heel stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've just got this sneaking suspicion they're gonna like make her the happy-go-lucky Bailey again, and I'm like, I don't know, because I kind of like this sort of edge that she has, like big green fluffy things on her entrance.
I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that. I make no offense to that. A bit cringy as well.
So, I mean, if that, as I say, if they keep her on a sort of tweener thing, or that, then I think that'll be sort of suits her better. To be honest with you,
has she ever been women's champion before?
Yeah, I mean, she's she's held in the Ultimate Championship and the SmackDown Championship, and she's also held the Tag Team Championship. But it doesn't really count for anything because the Tag Team type. Because the tag team titles have been
They've been poorly used.
Like shit, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but she has been a women's like a women's world or women's WWE champion before, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a long time, and I think they'd want her to be like, you know, because the whole 4 horsewomen thing was her, Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha Banks, wasn't it? That was the whole kind of thing.
Yeah. I remember Bayley had some great matches with Sasha Banks in NXT.
Oh yeah.
Before she ended up dropping the title to Asuka, I believe. So the NXT title, that is. She had that. Yeah, she had that great match at one of the NXT Takeover shows, and then they had that 3 out of Falls match on another NXT pay per view. That they were really, really good matches.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when she was a very happy-go-lucky character.
Yeah.
But she's never had a sort of individual moment. She's always been paired to Charlotte or Sasha Banks. So that's just kind of the first sort of period. You know, she's kind of she's kind of out on her own. From the other 4 horsewomen in the installment. It's just about time that she's had a moment or
I agree with you on that.
Because it has been a bit underutilized, and I think Charlotte Flair is over pushed a bit because of the fact her own asking name's Flair. There was it's the fact every time she comes back, every time she comes back from injury, she always gets inserted in the championship.
Is this Charlotte?
And you're like that. How does that actually make sense? You have to build yourself back up on the card, and to be honest, and I know Sean and Reese, because he's said like that at the same thing to me before on the channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's nepotism at its finest. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying like Charlotte's crap, because she clearly isn't. She's good. She's very good in the ring, but I think there's always been a sort of overrated quality to her, I think.
I agree. Another person who's terrible at cutting promos as well.
Yeah,
I don't rate her promos at all. No. I also heard that she have more title wins than her dad now, than Ric Flair?
She's getting up. She's getting to that. I think she's at she's at 14 championship, so she's almost.
That means she's lost it 13 times within a short space of time. Exactly. Then she's a terrible champion. Like, at least Ric Flair, he won his 14, I believe it was, over the course of like 30 plus years, and it was in different territories, defending it again. I mean, for Charlotte to lose the belt 13 times within the space of not even a decade, it just goes to show she's not a very good champion if she's losing the belt all the time. So,
and when they sort of
potatoing,
exactly, and I think especially when they try and make her a face, it's like, no, she's unlikable. Do you know what I mean? Like, play to her strengths.
Yeah, she's actually better as a heel, though. Yeah. To be honest, but I do think but I do think as well, they have to build up the faces and the women's division a bit more, because you're getting because you're getting still attached to the OC, and the OC aren't really going anywhere. Be honest, the OC are just brought back to the judgment. Basically, and for the judgment, they to be pretty comfortable Well, other than that, I won't see the point of the OC. So, she has to, she has to be up to if, if, or because I don't, I anxious, he could be the East in the next few months, and it's a shame, and it's a shame because it's a shame because she has a pretty good so.
Yeah.
Her and for Omar, if you've seen us of or other oceans, she's actually or within herself, so she needs to kind of get for her from that action, because the action's pretty much over now. Anyway, like funny to be basically.
Yeah, and I think I don't know why they keep sort of teasing the OC, because there's not much to him right now. I mean, you got obviously there's sort of like the backdrop for AJ Styles again, which is fair enough because AJ Styles is great no matter what he does. But yeah, with Mia, I think you're definitely right. She does need to sort of stand out on her own 2 feet now. Yeah, that's like something that we could probably talk about in terms of like what do you think AJ Styles is sort of next move is? Obviously he's going to be in like this sort of feud with LA Knight at the moment, or is it going to be?
I love the fact AJ Styles hates LA Knight so much he traveled 30 hours to Australia just to beat him up and then leave.
Yeah.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't even he had to like get a ticket and shit as well. I was like, not even on the show.
Yeah, I think I think it is going to end up a fatal one for the US. Because of various different sources have already has already said that it's looking like for one for the US. And the sooner they get it off that prick, the better. I know, because it kind of devalues their loss. I'm not a fan of Silver, but he's coming into actual championships, because it devalues their loss. And they'll be basically, and you've got a talented, and you've got a talented horse. Already, you've got you've got a son horse is a hard who are you enjoy, or you've got you've got you get Sammy's in and count with others who don't really he does a ability he has coming into your organisation, and you put a championship on him because of how many oh was he has just get it offer him, because it makes the rush you under or appreciate it in the fans' eyes, basically. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I can kind of get why they did it in the first place, because, I mean, whether we like him or not, he's a big name. It's Logan Paul. He's got like you know, he sort of transcends the sort of the normal wrestling world because he can get that kind of attention, and you know he's sort of legit anyway. So
You can't deny he's really good in the ring as well.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, he is, but
Really, really good in the ring.
yeah, he is, but like I just find that like I just find it like a shame that the instead of us and they show up every single interview. Oh, because it on hundred no, oh got a card to fight, or on your other a card does a sort of foul or an so
Yeah.
he but San horse as of he is he's because he's kind of feuding with the of you but just in for the instead I'd hard to live no won't get anything to fight on basically.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's how everyone's felt about Roman bloody Reigns as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're not bloody turning up, you know. But yeah, no, I get it, mate. But I think WrestleMania, he's got to be dropping it to one of them. If it's Randy Orton, I'll be annoyed. But at least it'll be like, at least he'll be turning up every week, you know. So.
Better be early in night on the next. He'll be doing an angry bit.
Yeah.
I think he'll drop it. I think he'll drop the title as well. Who he drops it to, frankly, I don't really care, to be honest with you. But if I had to put money on it, it will be either Kevin Owens if Kevin Owens ends up in that match, or LA Knight.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those two because they're the ones that have. I think if I had to put money on it, it'd probably be Kevin Owens because he's had the rivalry with him. And LA Knight's busy with AJ Styles at the moment, so I imagine it would be Kevin Owens. I think he will drop the title. I think there's going to be a lot of big changes at WrestleMania over the next 2 nights. I think Reigns will drop that title. I think Seth will lose to Drew McIntyre, and I think Logan Paul will drop that belt. Has Gunther got an opponent for WrestleMania yet?
Yeah, I think that that'll be Braun, but because if you think about it, but if you think about it, Braun, but has already beaten him, but I can NXT.
Yeah.
He should have already they could. As the run, but because again, I and I see in because this is already annihilated. He told them or to the Ross or at this point, so it kind of be a fresh match in a sense.
I will be a bit disappointed if it is a Braun Breaker. I don't think he should be the one. I think if I was booking it, I think Gunther's ready to start challenging for world titles now. I think he's done an incredible job making the IC belt really, really mean a lot. I mean, he's my favorite guy on the roster. I love watching.
Yeah, he's got a.
I think he's fantastic. His promos I can take or leave, but his in-ring work is just outstanding.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Geezer hasn't had a bad match for ever.
Yeah.
If I was booking it, and if you want to have a feel-good moment at Mania, I would love to see Chad Gable be the one. Be the one.
Yeah. That match. That match and Rob
was great.
With
his daughter there and everything. I think you've got a match. I think you've got a guy who is I wouldn't say tailor-made, but the story is there for him to be the one. Because Gunther embarrassed him in front of his family and his children. You know, they've got that shot of his daughter breaking down and crying.
Yeah.
And I think him going on a little redemption arc to be the one to dethrone the mighty Gunther.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is what WrestleMania is about. It's about making those big moments, and you've got the story pre-made there. I think Bron Breakker coming in and just beating Gunther. I don't know. For me, that falls a bit flat.
Yeah,
I think I would like it to be Chad Gable, or Sheamus has unfinished business with Gunther as well.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and that actually the Castle match was amazing. I think at some I think at some point, John, you'll have to review the Ashley the Castle together for that actual one, so that I can talk about it in great detail. Because it's one of my favourite matches of the past few years. So that was an excellent match. So I'd be happy with that as well.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know about you.
Yeah. No, I'm up. I mean, I remember the triple threat match between McIntyre. It was just like
great match.
Yeah.
Just three bruisers just for kicking the shit out of each other. It was brilliant.
Seriously, I love Gunther. I think he's just so bloody good.
He just reminds me of like a wrestling version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's just got everything, He's just like
his chops like tear your chops after he's finished. After he's like chopped you a few times, like you see their skin just torn to shreds on their chest, and he just feels so believable as well.
Yeah.
Like if I felt like I would get in the ring with Gunther, I know it's all predetermined. I'm not going to say fake. But it's all predetermined. But I would think like this guy's going to tear my head off. Like he looks like he could choke you out and kill you. He's one of the most believable guys on the roster. I think he's amazing. I'm a huge Gunther fan. If you can't tell.
I'm too.
Yeah. So I'd be a little bit salty if they had Bron Breakker come in and just beat him in the face.
But I'm telling you, that's where I think it's heading, because he had to that sort of skill. Awesome, actual Aston right on SmackDown. If you remember, if some random guy from the performance centre that's not really that's not really had very any NXT matches, so it's very so what's obvious that they are trying to him onto that level, so that he can challenge because he's already beaten the majority of the roster at this point.
Yeah. I think another good one potentially could be like Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
That was the other one. That was the other one I couldn't remember. Sami Zayn. Yeah.
Yeah, because like they're deliberately putting him on this sort of redemption arc of like, the ultimate underdog who's just like would be like the perfect kind of David and Goliath kind of battle. You know what I mean? And it's got days of like Daniel Bryan from like Mania 30 as well.
I love Sami Zayn. He's another one.
Yeah, Sami Zayn's brilliant.
He ticks all the boxes. I mean, he's not like a face of the company, but in terms of his promos, his in-ring work, he really makes you want to root for him.
Yeah.
He's kind of got like that Mick Foley
Just going to say that.
I like
Yeah.
He's really, really good, but he can be a great heel as well if he wants to be. But for me, Sami Zayn's at his best when he's a babyface.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, I hope at some point, you get Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for like a SummerSlam.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Yeah.
is potentially what they could do. As
Yeah.
I said, I do think Drew's going to become. I think Drew has earned it actually because when he beat Lesnar, unfortunately, it was during the beginning of COVID, and he won it in a warehouse in front of nobody. And I think that did always, in real life, not his character, but I think that did sting a little bit for quite a lot.
Yeah, that
irritate me. So I think he will beat Seth Rollins, and I think you could build to a match between him and Sami Zayn potentially for SummerSlam or something like that. But Drew McIntyre, I mean, I never rated his promos, but recently he's been amazing.
Oh, he's just been leaning into the bitterness so well. It's like a modern day Bret Hart in terms of the bitterness that's coming through. But it's great, you know.
No, I love it. Like when he like, especially poor CM Punk. Ever since he got injured, McIntyre's basically made that his gimmick, just trolling CM Punk at every opportunity. And he comes down to the ring and debuts the new shirt, which is basically that meme next to the gravestone. CM Punk, 2024 to 2024. And he says to Seth Rollins, "Your extra small is in the back." He's just such a great.
although to be honest, I think CM Punk's a bit of a liability. To be honest, he keeps on getting injured, and he keeps intentionally annoying every worker that he's in, because it's a constant disruption in the AEW locker room, and he was just absolutely ridiculous at the all-out press. Give him a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no, I think his reputation kind of preceded him a little bit when he was like coming in. And to be fair, again, it's kind of like blurring the lines between reality and kayfabe with the way that like both Rollins and Drew McIntyre were like, "Fuck this guy."
I think CM Punk's been fine since he's come back. He hasn't rubbed me up the wrong way at all. But in AEW, like, I'll give Punk this. Like, obviously, I think Tony Khan handled the whole thing appallingly, by the way. So I think he bears a lot of responsibility. But Punk wanted to turn it into an angle because he's like, listen, we don't like each other, but let's work with each other and turn this into an angle. But the Young Bucks are such fannies, they said no. So more fool you then, basically. Yeah,
exactly.
So you really could have made big money with that, because once the you blur the lines between reality and what's a shoot and a work, or whatever the terminology is, that's what makes the most interesting storylines.
Yeah.
But they decided they'd just rather be, no, we just don't like you, we're not going to work with you.
Yeah.
So Punk was like, okay, screw you
then. Yeah.
Like you could tell Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, they're not the biggest fan of Punk, but before he got injured, like, they were willing to work with each other and basically say whatever, you go out there and say whatever you want. Whereas the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega didn't want anything to do with that. So
to be honest with you, I don't think if you're an active or on a roster, or you shouldn't be in a position of backstage power, or anyway, it's a conflict to interest, because the Young Bucks have already had or the championship reigns and AEW already. They need to actually other tag teams have a chance. I don't think they should be allowed to be vice or president. You can't be both an active wrestler or or of a vice president. I think the two can't coexist.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's a danger of it going into sort of WCW territory there now.
Yeah,
And and I hope it doesn't get that way, because it's always good to have competition.
yeah.
But yeah, when you've got the inmates running the asylum, it never bodes well, does it? So,
well, to me, the biggest problem with that isn't Punk or the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega. It's the management.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
CM Punk would not, like, you've got Triple H and Nick Khan. Do you think they're really going to sit there and let that happen on their watch? Of course not.
No chance.
The management of WWE, it's like
Yeah.
they will. I don't want to say they rule with an iron fist, but they would never tolerate anything like that going on backstage. They just won't tolerate it. Whereas Tony Khan was incredibly weak in that scenario, and the whole went out of control. But like I mentioned earlier, Punk can see, like, we could potentially make some money out of this, because everybody was talking about it before from that pay-per-view in that press conference. And the Young Bucks, and frankly, when Punk left, that's sort of like when AEW to me started to go downhill a little bit. They brought Ric Flair in, and it's just a bit like, really.
But to be honest, of them or a student's new carrying.
Yeah. He's
the only good you should check out a student's new carrying.
No, I have seen Christian Cage's character. I think him and Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe is actually doing a pretty good job at champion. From what I've seen, I don't really follow AEW. From what I've seen, I think Samoa Joe is doing a very amicable job as champion, actually. And I think Christian Cage has been great. I think Edge has been a flop in AEW. He hasn't moved the dial.
Yeah, so far he has.
Yeah, and frankly, listen, I know AEW's like basically, I don't even consider them competition to WWE, but WWE.
Yeah, they're an alternative.
Yeah, but WWE is the company you really should be aiming for if you're in wrestling.
Yeah, no,
the others are so far below it, and it's the same for the UFC as well. The others are so far below it in terms of viewership and sponsors and and frankly, creative writing at the moment as well. That I think going to AEW is just I think it's just a mistake. I think Mickie James may have come out. She's in. I think she's in TNA at the moment, or Impact Wrestling, and
he's just and he stopped season and back to the end of WWE, and the end of WWE since probably Oregon took it over has been in a shit show. To be honest, though, they had that Rhodes. He is as champion for about 3 years under his Irish name, and it was just off. Oh, that's I stopped watching and because he is the champion for so for so long.
What, the Funkasaurus?
Yeah.
Well, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
But the point I was just trying to make earlier, is that WWE is like the company you should aim for, and it's the company you should be working for, because I mean, the rest are just so far below it. So I mean, that's just the reality of it, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And especially now, I mean, I honestly can't remember WWE since probably the Attitude Era that it's been this hot of a product.
And because Triple H has said to that Triple H has said to that in the press conferences is the arena sell out and the shows sell out and merchandise fell eyes off the sales and yeah, I know then as for the paper of views are up in the WWE now.
Yeah.
Mark, and they've just recently he signed to the Netflix agreement as well, so it is so it is a really profitable sort of time for the WWE.
Yeah.
For me, what it is as well is because even in like when Reigns was, they were trying to make Reigns the face of the company, the in-ring work was at a very high standard. But what they've really got a good grip on at the moment is they're telling really, in my opinion, really good stories. And that is ultimately what draws you in as, in my opinion, as a wrestling fan. You get attached to characters, you get into the storylines. Mike Tyson said it best. He said it's like a soap opera for men.
Yeah.
Also women can enjoy it. You've got so many great women on the roster. And combine that with the great in-ring work. I mean, it's arguably the best it's ever been in terms of all the boxes. It sort of is ticking all the boxes at the moment. Yeah. And you've got a roster that has so much depth to it. You've lost, like, within the space of like 2 months, you lost both Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. And it's like, look, but you still got Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, The Rock, LA Knight, Gunther, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins.
Finn Balor.
Huge roster. Yeah. And so many people are over. Because I remember when I watched the Attitude Era back in the day, you had your Austins, your Rock, Triple H's, Undertakers at the top. But then you had the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys. Yeah, you had Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, the man who shall not be named. And Kurt Angle. It just had so much depth to the roster. Rey Mysterio, and now it's like, because I stopped watching wrestling. Like, I have the network. I always go back and watch old pay-per-views and old matches and whatnot. But I would never really keep up to date with the current product at all. But pretty much for the last 2 years, But pretty much over the last 2 years, because the stories have been so good, it's sort of lured me back in as a fan. And I haven't been this hyped for a WrestleMania since WrestleMania 30, since Daniel Bryan's rise to popularity. Yeah. So
I mean, so do you think Austin will show up and she because they keep the angle in the carrot in front of me.
Stop playing with our hearts, man. It's
like, I am a huge Stone Cold Steve Austin fanboy.
Same here.
If The Undertaker didn't go as long as he did and have like those really classic matches towards the end of his run, Austin probably would be my number one, but he's number two. But he's not. Undertaker's number one for me, but number two is Austin. Yeah. If they could somehow, I think it would mean the match is very overbooked, but I kind of like the chaos of it. Yeah. I think, like let's just say Rock and Reigns beat Seth and Cody, which I think is what should happen. Yeah. And you've got The Rock with his new mafioso Tony Soprano way. Okay, you lost. Now you got to do what you're going to play by our rules now. He's going to be the special guest referee, and just stack the deck so high against Cody Rhodes. It's like, how the hell is he going to get out of it? And he's getting beaten down in the ring. Rock said, if anybody who works for WWE comes down to that ring, I'm going to fire them. And then all of a sudden the glass shatters because Austin doesn't work for WWE anymore. Exactly. And then all of a sudden the glass, Austin's going to do, what are you going to do? Sack me? I don't work for you. But then the glass shatters and Austin comes down to like save Cody Rhodes. I mean, It's
just
overbooked. It comes out of
Especially because
nowhere,
now-
but my God, it would get a reaction.
because you've kind of got now Rock in the kind of Mr. McMahon role almost, and like
Yeah.
McMahon's ultimate adversary, it was Austin. He's like the everyman, and he's the ultimate everyman. And I think
Yeah.
you kind of got that sort of like that Mick Foley title winner on Raw, kind of playing back, like harking back to that kind of time. And like you say,
Yeah.
Tom, with the whole chaos of if it was bloodline rules,
Mhm.
that technically means okay, no disqualification, anyone can come in, and there
Mhm.
you go. Then you've kind of got that sort of that moment. And
Yeah, no,
he needs to stop teasing us, mate. He needs to stop because
I actually think that match. I think that match is going to end in chaos. To be honest with you, I think Rhodes will win, but it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be Bloodline interfering, The Rock's interfering, Seth Rollins is going to be interfering. I think it's just going to be bedlam.
And I enjoyed this match. And I enjoyed this match with Evan Owens that we'll talk about next month. Sean that hang fire and that, but yeah, he's shown that he's shown in that match that he's got something to off. To be honest, so I know it's strike when the iron's hot and getting back for a cup. Jeez, man. Actually, I have a dream opponent for him early in eight that I patched back on the channel not too long ago. Oh, I think the Rome was maybe exceptional, so now's the time he's getting under our opponent he could face.
I've just got this image now of just like a back and forth of yeah, what, yeah, just like for about half an hour, and it just being fucking gold.
Yeah.
Also got the ultimate kind of thing that's been building up slowly in the ether is Austin and Punk, because it goes back to about 2000. Was it 2011 when Punk was in the Nexus, and there was that brief interaction that he had with Austin about like, oh yeah, oh you're drinking on the job, are you? He goes, yeah. So there's just been little like.
Sean, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but you sound very quiet compared to Daniel. Are you able to like speak a little closer?
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
I mean, if you can't do anything, I mean, I can hear you clearly, but you are noticeably quieter.
Let's have a look.
I mean, I'll be flabbergasted if Austin does come back. I think he will be is a bit too shoehorned in.
I hope he does.
Yeah, no, so do I. I love Austin. Any way you could get Austin back in is good with me. But if Austin does come back for another match, it's got to be someone who could. I don't think it will be CM Punk. I think CM Punk's like made of glass nowadays.
True.
But I think it will be somebody who can protect him but bump for him and
every night all the way.
That's why I thought Kevin Owens was the perfect opponent for him a couple of years ago. I thought they nailed Austin's return. He wrestled like a 20-minute match. Like nobody was expecting
as well. Like a nasty couple of bumps.
Yeah, like he got backdropped onto the concrete and everything. Yeah. So I thought it was great. I absolutely loved it. It exceeded way beyond my expectations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I can adjust it on the iPad. But
don't worry about it, mate.
I'm just going to sit closer instead.
You're leaning forward. I'm very serious.
Can I be serious for a moment?
Yeah. But how do you think the Bloodline storyline is going to go at Mania? Because I think what they want to get out of this. I mean, if I was booking it, I would probably want to turn Roman Reigns face after all of this. I think a face turn is on the horizon.
I'm not so sure. I think they might so of he's and like maybe so accidentally he stem once breaks or omener ends and then odds catchy he's in the roster odds basically and it sets up our woman and so for summer still um for summer still because you know that woman on paper act all summer still and an opponent so maybe so will be his opponent like if he's sort of so oh
Yeah, that could work.
I mean, if I were booking it, I would. So if you're booking night one, it's the tag match. I would.
yeah
I think Rock and Reigns should go over, and I think that it should be Cody Rhodes who eats the pin, because if you're going to have Seth Rollins lose to Drew, you don't want him losing 2 nights in a row. And if Cody's going to beat Reigns the following night, then I think it would make sense for Cody, because once again, it's just stacking the deck against him. So it just makes the victory for him even bigger. But you don't want Rollins losing twice, 2 nights in a row. I think that would be pretty disastrous for his character. So I would have Rollins eat the pin. I think whether it's Roman or Rock, flip a coin for that.
I would imagine probably Rock. I think if the story.
Yeah, I'd actually give it to the Rock since he's at the turn.
But it would have to be due to interference. Like, it can't be a clean. It can't be a clean pin. It would be due to interference. And then Rollins loses to Drew, and then Reigns in the end loses to Rhodes. So Rhodes, I lost the tag match, but I won the match that really mattered. And then Rhodes can go do what he does after that, and then it could be like, because I think The Rock is so good as a heel at the moment, and I don't like him turning babyface to face off against the heel Roman Reigns. I'm not a fan of that at all. I think you turn Reigns face and you build up to the Rock match at WrestleMania 41, but it's almost like he has to go through a pagoda of the bloodline. So he has a match against Jimmy, then he has a match against Solo Sikoa, and then he has The Rock could bring in other bloodline.
So a redemption arc sort of thing after he loses.
Rock basically boots him out of the bloodline, and he takes the title of tribal chief, or he can call himself High Chief. If he wants to go that extra mile. And Reigns is sort of he builds up to that match. He's beaten. Don't he remains undefeated up until 41. Because what you don't want to happen is for Reigns to have the title for so long to then go on like this losing streak. You want to keep him looking strong, especially if he turns face. For him to ultimately face The Rock, and then that is like the final. That's like the end of the bloodline storyline, because you can't. I mean, it's been going on for years now, but if you want to do something with Reigns after losing the belt, I think that's the next best thing you do with him. I think
but my only age of concern is as soon as all the bill shenanigans are funny, you stop it next year. WrestleMania, like, how the hell are WWE going to market the programming? They're going to have to start eating something up after WrestleMania. So that you've got something already in the pipeline, or you'll be back to the John Cena era.
Reigns is part-time anyway, so he's not going to be around that often anyway. So I don't think the fans will get sick to death of him, because he like wrestles like 4 times a year or something like that.
Yeah.
And you just save him for the big pay-per-views. Like I think a Solo Sikoa match for him at SummerSlam would be a good match. I think Solo Sikoa is still undefeated, so or he hasn't eaten a pin, I should say. At least I don't think he has. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So I don't. If he was around every week, then yeah, you run the risk of that happening. But I mean, Cody Rhodes going forward, if he does win, he will be the face of that company. He'll be the one there. That's every week and every pay-per-view defending the title. Whereas Reigns, bit like what Cena is now, he's going to morph into that special attraction that ultimately these faces of the company ultimately become after they've passed the torch, so to speak. So I don't think he will lose steam if he's only wrestling 3 or 4 times a year. I think there's little risk in that. Yeah, sure.
Your point, Daniel, about planting the seeds for like a new story. I think they sort of hinted at that with like the Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman interaction.
Yeah.
So it was very brief, but it was almost like, okay, Heyman's sort of making a contingency plan here. He's like, right, this guy is like, let's face it, he's another Lesnar.
Yeah.
Name. Do you know what I mean? And he's the kind of guy that Heyman.
Anthony already has was in that special episode they were up against and he had him and each run, but he for that episode, so there's already history sort of already in the making, because he's already managed on Bray.
Yeah, and that's the thing you notice with Heyman. There's always someone else he can fall back on.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, if you're going way back, you had like
Cesaro.
Yeah. Or what, Curtis Axel, yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
But then you had like, and then you went back to Lesnar when he came back, and then he went to Reigns, and then now it's like, right, who's going to be his meal ticket next time? Because it's going in that direction, and I think there's a nice little hint there with Bron, and I think
he's kind of managing The Rock at the moment as well, isn't he? He's sort of like the
he kind of has.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I think they'll turn The Rock ace because he's not putting up the on if you've noticed, he's putting up an L rather than if you know what I mean. Yeah, so.
I hope the Rock's not an agent or a mole in the bloodline. I want him to stay heel. I think the Rock's doing his best work now, frankly, since 2003. I mean, I think what he's doing now is amazing. It's like much watched television for me.
Yeah, but I'm just going by the because he's done it a couple. Because he's done it a couple of times in screen. So you're like, oh, you're an agent for Rhodes, and you're going to help aid Rhodes, and that's how and that's how the bill until starts to disintegrate. What do you think, sir?
I mean, even though that makes sense, I think it's almost a little bit too obvious, especially with so many people saying, "Oh yeah, no, he's going to turn. This is the sign," kind of thing. I think maybe eventually down the line, because this whole thing about playing the long game and all that sort of stuff. Unless the long game in his mind is like a couple of months, I don't know. But like,
I think I get the feeling because due to the really negative response that the fans had to The Rock basically taking Cody's place to beat Roman Reigns. I think they've got an end game in mind now. Like, this is where we want to be. But how we get to that point, I think they're kind of seeing what the reaction is. It's very fluid. I think they're constantly changing every week. So, I think The Rock probably just made a mistake a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, probably.
But they probably looked at the feedback online and heard that talking. So like but now he's sort of playing into it a little bit.
Yeah.
And Sean, you pointed out that Heyman noticed that The Rock was doing it.
Yeah.
As
again,
well.
I won't be reading too much into it, but it's just I've noticed a couple of things with him. It's just the way he sort of looked over at him, like that, like he's checking up on him, sort of thing. And I think again, like I said to you, Tom, the other day on the chat, it's like he's the unsung hero of this whole thing. I think Heyman. There's just so many little things, even when it's just the way that he's looking at Reigns or the way he's looking at The Rock, or just little reactions that he does that I think just
find yourself a woman who looks at you like Paul Heyman looks at Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
you'll have like the best woman in the world. I mean, he's so good. Like his facial reaction, it's like he doesn't even need to say anything anymore. His reactions, it's just so good. Yeah, he's one of the greatest managers of all time. It's between him or Bobby the Brain Heenan. He's just so good.
I'll be that actually. He had Paul Bearer into that as well, because he's as he managed Mankind for about Raid, and even in on the independent circuit, because I remember because I remember showing on some videos of like and he was getting in so he's he's even managed in so he's been he is in the business for a good few years.
I think Paul Bearer was a great manager, and Percy Pringle was a great manager. My only issue with that is I feel like he's sort of typecasted to certain characters: Undertaker, Kane, Mankind. Whereas Heenan and Heyman, they've managed people from the mid card to the main event, to slightly more unknown. Like they've covered a lot of ground, and they felt more like managers. Like I can imagine Paul Heyman booking Roman Reigns' hotels and the cars that drive from the airport and stuff like that. Whereas I couldn't imagine Paul Heyman doing that for Kane, or not Paul Heyman, Paul Bearer doing that for Kane.
Let's book a couple of rooms in the mortuary. You know?
Yeah. But
I'll be back in a sec. Just need to use the little boy's room.
Yeah, I need the loo as well. Sorry, Daniel, can you just give us 1 minute?
Yeah, sorry, mate. We'll be
okay, cool. The chat to see if anybody said anything, just to if you got like I said, everybody in the audience in the past I tune in every single week, basically, and I have on and I have on for a young age, so I really my often so does the other good eyes here in the chat. So it's good to actually so it's good to so it's good to actually get some in the ear feedback on it on your perspective is that you don't allow the product to go both ways. So yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
So yeah, carry on. I gave us saying about Paul Bearer because I was interested.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Paul Bearer is one of the. I think he is a really good manager, or was a really good manager. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But would I put him above Heyman or Bobby the Brain Heenan, for example? No, I wouldn't. He's definitely in the top 5. He felt more like a character. I know he was a manager, but he felt more like a character than anything.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Whereas Heyman feels like he's like that's who he is. He doesn't feel like he's playing a character. Like
he's a busy, sweaty bastard. That's what he is.
yeah. But he's one of the best of all time, though.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Jim Cornette, he was another pretty good manager as well.
Yeah.
And who else? It's definitely between Heenan and Paul Heyman.
You would even put maybe you would even put maybe other James Mitchell here from Impact as well. There's obviously big. There's obviously as well. It was James Vandenberg and WCW.
Yeah.
So he's kind of an established manager as well. He's he managed to the disciples in the new church, obviously them on or a bus. Obviously he won't talk about the Judas Yes character because that is a or basically can pull he's that that character was he's even managed Jessica Havoc and was Harry from Impactism. Also he's in the established something and he just hell.
MVP with
Yeah.
Amos. Although I think
don't start me. Oh, he's shut, but thankfully, yeah, thankfully, yeah, I think his time is coming to an end, because the only oh, I'm out for a Royal Rumble. Oh no, actually, anyway, there isn't really each all that much anymore.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, we were tearing our collective hairs out every time he came out to the ring because it's like, oh man.
Oh God, yeah.
MVP.
Oh God, yeah. I'm the exact, I'm the exact same.
Amos guy.
I'm the
yeah.
I'm the exact same with Jax at the moment. Jax is awful.
Oh yeah, I mean, people say, "Oh no, she's really improved." I'm like, no, she's just been in the ring with really good people that can carry her ass. You know what I mean? And
and the only reason Jax is easier than war fashion is because they're ox in the war zone. Let's be honest, it's a whole sort of family connection, and people actually say they make my answer, but I'm bad for that. How look at Jax as in the car. She should be nowhere near that.
No,
that
before. It's nepotism at its finest, isn't it? It's like
yeah.
That was probably the. Sorry, Sean, carry on.
No, you go.
That was probably I think that was the best singles match she's ever had against Ripley at the Elimination Chamber, and even that was a pretty mediocre match. So I don't think she'll get any better than that. I mean, she's been given chance after chance after chance.
Yeah.
Like people just don't care about her. They just don't.
No.
It's go away.
Yeah.
It's not like we're booing you because you're a heel. No, we're booing you because we just don't want you on television.
Yeah,
I don't rate her at all. I don't know what she's like as a person. I'm sure she's a nice person in real life. But
She's horrible, but she's horrible. She's horrible. By the way, I've got a whole I've got a whole history of her, which I'll tell you some other time, because I kind of want to keep this whole stream sort of positive, even although we have had a bit of own here and yeah, but I don't have anything good to say about Nia Jax at all. Basically, she's basically like the Arsenal types of fans and have an opinion and all that. You know that kind of whole snow or Philly AK type. And then someone else has had it and you're like, hang on, I need to sit and watch this. You can, but you're the ones that buy them. Arch and review William Archie, etc. So, so you can get a bit more traction. Because let's be honest, there's so so in his own, he just picked up the last up over years. So some wasn't for guys like nobody would know who the hell Ajax is at always basically.
So we've got you to blame for her then, Daniel. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So Daniel, what are you saying? You're saying you're not a fan of her then, or
yeah, no, don't hold back.
Oh, she's just a sack of shit.
All right, there goes being positive out the window. She's a sack of shit.
But I agree with you though, because especially the ones that like say, "Oh, you can't criticize because you've never been in the business," and they're the same fuckers that are like moaning about like people at airports going, "Oh, you've lost my luggage." It's like, but you don't work for the airline agency, so how come you're having an opinion about it? You know, it's that kind of hypocritical shit that rubs me up the wrong way when it comes to them.
Yeah.
And snowflakes.
Yeah, but and you get the whole other extreme of the else. Wasn't that stupid? Hardly insist and he somehow can get it past 5 stars, even though it's a 5 actually, it's like if a star it's 5 stars, you can't change to suit your own agenda by adding another star onto it. Just doesn't make any sense. If you're like 8 out of 5 stars, it should just 5 stars. You can't just add another star because you feel like it, or because you're a boy, or because you're a boy, can you isn't he with thousands of in of and it just wasn't make any sense. So if you're going to
I'm convinced that if you need to get a 5-star match from Meltzer, you have to be Japanese. So
yeah.
Like I mean, I recently rewatched Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21.
Yeah, same here.
Easily one of the greatest matches of all time.
Yes,
one of his favorite matches, and that did not get a 5-star from Meltzer. I find that unbelievable.
Yeah, well,
that
that
didn't
just
get
Yeah.
any credibility he has, like, it's just dumbfounding. And also the fact that recently he's just come up with about 10 different scenarios about where this blood
so one of
rights-
them will be right.
Yeah, and then he's like, I told you.
Yeah.
Like, no, you didn't. Shut up.
Yeah.
Stop
Now
effing.
he's handing out 5 stars left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Everyone gets 5 stars,
Yeah,
mate.
everybody wins.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, he gave Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 only he was stars. He didn't give it a 5-star. That's that and as a 5-star match, and he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, basically.
Chris Van Vliet, I think that's his name. He asked him about that. Why didn't you give it 5 stars? And he said, "Oh, I could just kind of see where the match is going," and that didn't warrant giving it. That didn't warrant giving it 5 stars. I mean, whatever, dude. That doesn't make
well,
much
that just
sense to me.
tells you everything, doesn't it? It's like you say, Tom. Unless it's not flips and kicks in like New Japan, like for like going at 100 miles an hour, no real story's been told. Then it can't be, you know.
I honestly thought Baker and Shawn, that was a masterclass in the ring.
Yeah.
Two old vets going at
Yeah.
it, and it's my second favorite match of all time. Number 1 being Austin versus Bret Hart.
Yeah.
In the submission match in WrestleMania 30. He gave that one 5 stars.
I'll put that actually say Austin Revere Orchid 17 is better than that. Oh, to be honest, in terms of the whole history, though, you can argue the point the heel turn kind of ain't set a bit, but like in terms of the actual content of the match itself, Austin Vere Orchid 17 is a fantastic match, no?
That is an incredible match. Another match I not long ago rewatched. I just hate the finish of that match with a burning passion.
Yeah.
It's my after Taker losing his streak, it's my second least favorite booking decision that WWE have ever made. I just could not stand the finish. The match up until that point, I understand what you're saying, Daniel. I agree with you. If you want to give it 5 stars, I'm not gonna argue with you over that. But that finish is just so atrocious. So just for that, I'm still to this day I get bitter thinking about it.
Yeah.
Especially in hindsight, when you see just like how nonsensical the no logic really was behind it, because literally like a couple of weeks later, you've got Austin and Triple H suddenly teaming up. They were trying to kill each other a few months ago.
So dumb. I mean, JR said that turning Austin heel would be like casting John Wayne as a villain in a film. It just doesn't work. But Steve was the one who pushed for turning heel. Vince didn't want to do it, but he felt like we owe it to Steve to try. And JR was like, you can't turn Austin heel. And Austin didn't listen. And then he soon realized quite quickly that he made a mistake, but he's like, well, I've turned heel now, I may as well run with it. But yeah, that ending is just such a terrible ending. I don't want to say it ruins the match for me. I don't want to say it ruins the match for me. It doesn't, but I don't really go back and watch it that often because of that finish.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, I get your point, but also prepare also as the Triple H he Daniel Bryan to open up WrestleMania 30. It was another 5-star match, because if you think about it, it's got drama, it's got insight. It's got the prospect of old age and Asian Daniel Bryan in the main event if he beats but Ian, and at that point you weren't sure if the company you're actually only commit to Ian as he kept on as he kept on jobbing out.
Well, that was another example of WWE course correcting, because Daniel Bryan was meant to have a match with Sheamus at that WrestleMania, but you just couldn't deny the reactions that Daniel Bryan was getting, and they had the fans demanded it. They had no choice but to course correct. And
it's funny how 10 years later something similar has happened. These anniversary shows.
Yeah, but that match, that opening match at WrestleMania 30 between Triple H and Daniel Bryan is one of the best opening matches to any WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's not quite 5-star, but it's a really, really good match. The only other opening match I can think that's just as good as that, if not better, is probably Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Owen Hart beat him, and he beat him clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Great finish. I love that match.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I'm going to say something controversial, but I put a fair Owen Hart to be honest. Yeah, because
Daniel, I love you, but you're wrong.
Because I think Owen had a bit more personality about him. It is the only time that I found her interesting is his heel on the 9.
That was great.
He's 70. Basically, that is the best version of Hart is when heel in 97, because that's one of the best heel in company history. We also get we also get one of the best babyface and there is so many other
well, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting you say that. I respectfully disagree with you about the Owen Hart thing. I think Bret Hart's one of the greatest of all times. I think he has. I understand what you mean about his promos, but I think Bret's work, his body of work, far outweighs what Owen Hart accomplished. And Bret Hart not only was a face of a company, he also he made Stone Cold Steve Austin. He turned him into a megastar. And he's had great performances with wrestlers who have very limited ability to some of the best in the business. So I respectfully disagree with you on that. Bret Hart was only a heel in America, because when he went to Canada or he came to Europe, like the UK, the fans loved him. It was only in America that they booed him, and but he would play up to that. And that was easily his best promo work in 1997 when he went blown heel.
And he's still doing it to this day. Just it's great. We love Bitter Bret. He's brilliant.
Oh, he's one of the best.
But he keeps going on about Montreal a bit too much, and I understand his position on it, and to an extent I do sort of agree, but the same point though, that's nearly 3 it's old man, get over her. To be
I think he's more bitter about Goldberg than that, though. To be honest with you, I can kind of see where you're coming from there, Brett, with that one.
Well, there's been a lot of footage coming out of Goldberg like early on his career, and he was hurting people left, right, and center. So yeah. I mean, yeah, I get what you mean. Get over it, but frankly, WWE are the ones that keep. I mean, we can't go through a Survivor Series now without screw job happening.
true.
So they're the ones who were sort of refusing to let it die. I mean, Brett and Shawn, they buried that hatchet years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get what you mean, but Brett took it very seriously. If anything, he took it too seriously. It was like
but to be honest, though, you're on your road out to the competition, so obviously you're going to, going to have to drop the regardless of whether you hate Shawn Michaels' guts or not. You do the job and you go to get $multi-million contract at a time or not with WCW because Vince McMahon can't afford to pay them out on a great contract that was due to be up in 2017 anyway. His man couldn't afford to pay that contract anyway, so I don't really see.
I think it's quite a nuanced situation. I mean, Shawn Michaels, let's not forget, he basically made out in a promo that Bret Hart was having an affair with Sonny, and it caused Bret Hart real personal grief at home, as well as many other things. So you're asking Bret Hart, you have to drop the title to the guy who said he would never do anything like that for you.
Yeah.
He out the ring when he put you over, and you've made it deeply personal with him. I actually think the blame lies more with Vince McMahon, actually, because he came up with a solution. Why don't you get Bret to drop the belt to me? Because Undertaker and Bret were good friends.
Yeah.
Why don't you just get Bret to drop the belt to me, and then I'll just drop it to Shawn afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
We can work out the scenario. But Vince had this idea that Vince had this idea that he could resolve it. And he couldn't because Bret and Shawn, neither of them wanted to do business with each other. And it came to the 11th hour, and it was Triple H who said, you know, fuck this guy. You know, he's the one leaving. You're staying. He's going to go for the competition. Frankly, I think Bret should have dropped the title because he is leaving. He's leaving for another company.
Yeah.
But I totally understand why Bret would not want to drop the title to Shawn Michaels. I wouldn't be able to stomach doing that for somebody I couldn't stand, because those two really hated each other. They were having fights backstage and everything. So but I see where you're coming from. But and then, you know, the rest is history. You've got one of those infamous angles, not even an angle,
work shoots
that's ever happened in the company.
And they did the exact same finish at the end of the Survivor Series, did the like Games tournament in the following year with them or putting mankind in the sharpshooter. So they did the exact same finish the following year as well.
Yeah, that was when Rock first became champion. That was when the corporate was born. Rock was like face for 2 weeks.
That's all he needed.
He pretty much disbanded the nation, and then went on a face run for like 2 to 3 weeks, and then turned back into a heel again.
To be honest, if they over didn't the over didn't and Aaron Roster off, do you think he'd have been a bigger do you think he would have had a few or IC type reigns if he didn't injure Roster off? Because the guy I thought was pretty charismatic. He was never only be a main event. Oh, but he should have really.
Who are we talking about?
He did that ICO level.
Who are we
If
talking
he
about?
didn't
Sorry, I have
injure
to go let my cat out.
Stuart Rosdorf.
Who are we talking about?
D'Lo Brown.
Oh, God, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make him IC champion? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, is it because of the whole Darren Osdorf situation that he just kind of get buried, basically? Because he should have stayed in the IC title action. I think the whole injury to Jarosz was that be easy kill. Because the essential is the essential really get lost in the shuffle, to be honest,
Yeah, I mean, I can think
after that.
other reasons why they would have just sort of demoted him without consequences. You know what I mean? But like you say,
Yeah.
he was charismatic, and I think he sort of fell by the wayside, and I think it was probably too convenient at the time for that not to be the reason, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth considering. I think you're onto something there.
I don't really have an opinion on it. I'm afraid. I wasn't aware of it. So yeah, I mean, all I remember about D'Lo Brown, he wore like this looked like a
the chest protector.
the chest protector, and he would like bob his head back and forth quite often. Frankly, I only started giving a shit about the IC title. It wasn't really until Benoit, Guerrero, and Chris Jericho were wrestling for it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but the IC title was seen as like whoever's got the IC title, at some point they're going to be a world champion or get close or start wrestling for a world championship. It's like the final.
Yeah, so how come they never elevated British Bulldog to that level?
Yeah,
because
I think Davey Boy Smith, he had a lot.
Because he beat Vince's next golden his stadium. So how did that not elevate Bulldog? Bulldog, though it's a mystery to me.
I don't think it's a mystery at all. I think he was just too unreliable. He had a pretty messed up personal life. He was into drugs, drinking, and all sorts. That match he had with, speaking of Bret Hart, my boy, another fantastic match.
Yeah.
Which didn't get 5 stars, Meltzer, you bastard. But that's another great match.
House 5 match as well was pretty good.
Yeah. But he was too unreliable. That match he had with Bret Hart at Wembley Stadium, he completely forgot everything. He actually said Bret Hart did an interview, and David was like, "I'm fucked. I literally, I don't know what I'm doing." And Bret was like, "You can see Bret Hart throughout the entire match when he gets him into a sleeper hold. He's like doing the whole, you have to hit me with the drop kick, and then I'll go, and he's like whispering,
the whole Botchamania thing.
Yeah. And Bret literally carried him through that match nearly went for 30 minutes. Yeah. So that's the reason why they never did anything with Davey Boy Smith, because a great wrestler, really, really great in ring, but too unreliable in regards to his personal life to put the belt on him. I think that's ultimately
because I actually had one on over in Germany for the European title, the final. That match is absolutely fantastic. If you've never seen that, I recommend you go and watch that match. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you've got because Davey Boy was very closely linked. He married into the Hart family.
Yeah,
so they all knew each other very, very well. I mean, that's why Bret and Owen had such great matches. They grew up together. They were brothers. They wrestled in the dungeon together.
I was going to say
They
that
knew each other incredibly well. You know,
Yeah.
that's why it just creates they just had such great chemistry in the ring with each other.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But Davey Boy, another point about Davey Boy is that by the time he sort of caught his second win, I mean, are you gonna make Austin or The Rock drop the title to him? I mean, it's just not gonna happen, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, and in 1999 it was kind of in 1999 it kind of it kind of get lost in the shuffle. He was hanging about with the Main Street Posse, you know.
Oh yeah.
All of that, and they get kind of and they get kind of lost in the shuffle, and
Yeah.
and he took the pinfall to defeat Alvin. His Armageddon
That was
and
when
the
he was wearing
triple
jeans.
threat match.
Oh yeah. He was like
He cut his hair and he was wearing jeans and he wore boots.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of like he was kind of like one of those. He was kind of, you can consider him a veteran at that point, where he was sort of there to put the younger talents over. That's pretty much what he became after that, to be honest with you. And then he died, unfortunately, not long after that. So yeah, but an amazing in-ring performer, though. No denying that.
100%.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, my cat's going mental. So sorry if you can hear him in the room.
Oh yeah, no, I can't.
No, I can't either.
Yeah. So, what do you think are going to be your?
Huh? So you've got Cody Rhodes. So what do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? I've given you what I think is going to happen at Mania. I just want to know, like, who do you think is going to win? I don't want to know how they're going to do it, but if you have to give predictions, who do you think is going to win at Mania?
Well, they're Hawking Roman Reigns will win the tag match.
Yep.
Cody Rhodes will win the main event for the Universal, whatever they call it now, that belt.
Endgame title, yeah.
So, and you've got Drew McIntyre, and then and then the World Heavyweight title. Well, I think he'll pin EOS, I'll probably EOS guy, Jay Uso will probably, Jay Uso will probably beat Jimmy, because I think he'll sort of push Jay as an up a hard sort of babyface act, so he should probably in theory be beating Jimmy, and but I still and I'm going to have Europe to annihilate Jill, and so that she can so that she's get the whole so that she's get the whole beaten to the four horse women women in the company, because he's sort of high on them, them, and it's all your beats back. So I just think Sean obviously he will go into detail in the card for I expect have me a rough sort of to give me a rough sort of what do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on board with those as well. Although this is going to make Tom shit itch right now. I don't necessarily think Cody Rhodes is definitely winning. I would not be surprised if, for some way, Roman retains and they go for. And I know it's like records and blah blah blah, but they've come this far
Ugh.
to not do Hogan's record. Honestly, it's not what I want to happen.
Yeah, but
I think
the
whole idea
yeah, but hold
the
on a minute.
record is
Hold
ridiculous.
on a minute. And how's that?
The work
How's that a record when in San Martino's get there?
Yeah,
To
then it'll be Bob Backlund's, then it'll be Bruno
Yeah.
Sammartino.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
work sport. It's dumb. It's so
But you
dumb.
know how like much they're sort of building up these for 1,300 and bloody blah days. Like,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
600
can't. I
days.
don't know if I can. For me, it will ruin the whole storyline if Reigns retains that title for another year.
I'm just saying I'm not putting all my eggs in that
No,
basket.
I get what you mean, but that to me is Game of Thrones season 8 bad.
Yeah.
Like I cannot stomach another year of Roman Reigns as champion. I really can't. And drag this shit out for another year.
Is
I mean, looking back on it now, I understand why they didn't do it at 39. I get that now. But I said to you earlier when we were talking, Sean, like 39 felt like Infinity War, 40 feels like Endgame. If there is ever a time for Roman Reigns to drop that bloody title, it is now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, okay, so Cody Rhodes has lost twice, and he doesn't warrant. He's a loser. He doesn't deserve it, or even has the right to earn another title shot.
It should be like technically it should be technically it should be there for all things. Now hear me out for a second, because I said to Sean before we came on, he's the only guy that Roman has failed to eat throughout the entire story. And so, and theory, it should be all and going by the Solon logic, but and again, I'm a traditional and a probable of PTS.
I think I think whoever beats Reigns is going to be your next face of the company. I think you would waste it if you give it to Rollins. He's already done so much. He's accomplished so much already. Not saying Cody hasn't, but Cody's never won like a world title before. So I think giving it to Rollins is not a really good idea. I know what you're saying. He's never beaten him. I get it. But that's the reason why I still think Brock Lesnar beating Taker was such a terrible decision. Because if you're going to give someone
that was awful.
Yeah, you've got to make sure they're at least going to be like at least the face of your company, because that is like the perfect example of passing the torch on to the next person. And for me, Brock doing it was a complete, because they booked Brock so poorly up until that match.
The build-up was rubbish, and it was like
terrible.
Just so it almost made it maybe too obvious. Like, oh well, Undertaker's just going to win. So it was almost we're subverting your expectations, and it was
it was terrible.
It was
terrible. But frankly, I don't think Taker ever should have lost this streak. But if you're going to do it, give it to Tribal Chief Bloodline heel Roman Reigns. Give it to him.
I'll put it to John Cena. I'd had Cena a treat to and then you get a John Cena heel turn out of that.
Yeah, there better have been a heel turn at the end of that. But I mean,
they were close to getting it as well.
Yeah, he had like heel trunks made up for him. He was going to ditch the whole 3/4 length shorts and everything. He was going to go back to wrestling boots and trunks. But
Vince said,
listen, I mean, Cena was making too much money for the company as a babyface, so it just made sense for them to keep him as a face. It made little business sense to turn him heel. Creatively, it would have been amazing, but business-wise, it probably would have been more of a detriment than a plus for them.
Yeah.
But it would have been like turning Hogan heel in his match against Macho Man or something like that. It
With the
just
Ultimate Warrior.
Actually, actually, the also like the moment I was having turning heel in like 1991, just before the actual of Ultimate Warrior, but obviously that was
Yeah.
but obviously that was actually he shut down by internal sources because like all the major news sources were apparently reporting that at one point, but it get quickly rushed by internal WWE sources. So well, there was a rumor that could have potentially happened. Although by that point anyway, people had actually getting a bit sick of Hogan because there's because there's an earlier segment of the snake pit here Jake Roberts gives them the and the fans apparently he cheered
They loved it.
Roberts, but they never actually aired as Eggman because they wanted to present Hogan as it all American Hogan and baby face
Yeah.
guy.
to touch upon
So they never aired that.
Well, to touch upon the Ultimate Warrior thing, I mean, a lot of people forget that Warrior's title run was a flop.
Yeah, it was.
He wasn't a successful champion, and the company took a bit of a financial hit. But that's just the power of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan put him over. I mean, he did kind of kick just after 3, but whatever. But Ultimate Warrior's run as champion was pretty crap, to be honest with you. It's one of those classics.
He was always
a lot more exciting than the reign itself. So they were very quick to try and get that belt back on Hogan as soon as possible. I think Warrior lost to
Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh my god! And then they put the belt back on Hogan. I mean, if you're losing to Sergeant Slaughter, man, that's not good. But Jim Hellwig, another one who was very difficult to do business with backstage.
Yeah, that prepares a whole other he sort of sympathizer gimmick that Sergeant Slaughter had to kind of build heat for the match, but tickets for Mania 7 didn't sell. It was supposed to be it's supposed to be this big stadium show, but they had it in a sort of small sort of cramped the NJ convention center or something like that because the tickets because the tickets because the tickets sold out from any seven.
Yeah, they were meant to do it at a massive stadium, but nobody cared about the main event, which was Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter. And due to the low ticket sales, they had to move it to the arena just up the road. But they tried to make out we were receiving death threats. Oh, Sergeant Slaughter was getting. No, nobody cared about Sergeant Slaughter, and they were getting a little bit tired of Hulk Hogan as well. So,
it was a bit of a.
But I think Ultimate Warrior had a pretty good match with. Was it Macho Man?
Macho Man, yeah.
That was a good match.
Probably his better.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, that was probably Macho Man's best match. Macho Man's best match. Ultimate Warrior's best match. He had it was either against Rick Rude or
Rude
Macho Man. It was one of them. I can't remember
as well.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Like, which do you consider the best Hell in a Cell match? Because I still consider the first one the best one. Let's do some quick fire questions.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like.
If anyone's in the chat, send us some quick fire questions as well.
In terms of like actual storytelling, I suppose, but being the whole idea of it being the first one, and then obviously you've got Kane's debut, but I can't help but go back to Mankind and Undertaker. It was just
Mankind and Undertaker. Mankind and Undertaker for the simple fact that starts at the top of the cell and Mick Foley, he puts his entire life on the line, and JR and Jerry the King all I actually thought he was the ring side because I've said to that has have said that in several interviews. So yeah, so that for me is the highest you can possibly go if a Hell in a Cell match. Not that there hasn't been good on since, but that's the apex of Hell in a Cell matches. How do you top that? No, you just don't.
I don't want to sound like a hater, but frankly, I think that match has been so overexposed now. And when you take those two spots out of it, and they are big spots, don't get me wrong, it's not the most interesting thing to watch. You watch the spot, but then the rest of it's like you're just sort of sitting around waiting. Especially if you watched it several times, I don't find it that interesting to go back and watch because nothing much happens.
Yeah, take your point.
Whereas with the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker one, I just think it's a masterclass. Of how you put together a match, how the cell was used, stories with Kane coming in. It just so many intertwining things, and all the stars aligned for that match. Whereas I think the Mankind Taker one, it was just more for shock value. But then when you take that out of it, there's not really much else there. To be frank. That being said, I would consider it the second best Sal match of all time.
Triple H was alright.
Which one?
Yeah, Triple H. Triple H Cactus Jack was good.
That was good, but I thought the street fight they had at Royal Rumble was better.
Yeah.
The month prior.
To be fair, and to be fair, though, why give both my matches the same rating? And in terms of story, in terms of content, in terms of the risk factor involved to the that's why I give them the same rating. Both are 5-star matches in my book. I don't know about you guys, but in my book they're both 5-star.
From a star rating point of view, say that again, Sean?
I said, take that, Meltzer.
Well, he gave, from a start. I mean, if I had to give the first Hell in a Cell match a rating, it's 5 stars. It's one of the best matches of all time. I think that if you take the 2 stars out of if you take the 2 spots out of the Mankind Taker Hell in a Cell match, it's like a 2-star match. Because really, 2.5 maybe, because nothing happens. It's a lot of sitting around and waiting. That's why I don't really go back and watch it. I think if you watch the first time you watch it, it's just so shocking. But then once you take that shock value out of it, I kind of find it a bit boring to go back and watch. I think an underrated Hell in a Cell match is the Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar one from 2000.
Big Evil.
Yeah, Big Evil Taker.
Yeah.
Edge versus Finn Balor. I thought was decent in that Hell in a Cell match. I thought was decent.
That one, to be honest with you, but I'll go back. I'll put that one on the list.
Yeah, now you said it, I'll go back and watch.
Yeah.
Okay, then let me think of another one. Who would you consider the worst WWE champion of all time? I can tell you my one is Jinder Mahal.
Either Mahal or Archizal of John Moxley. He's slashed in Amber was his story in the shite. Was it the shit on this one? That was shit. And the whole and the whole sort of cheap sort of I need some AJ Styles eats him for the belt, and that is just like just so rubbish. But
Yeah,
he's like, it just felt I just felt like a standard in championship run. 'Cause you've got the other two guys that have held to the belt and the shield before he did. So it felt like a walking
yeah.
run.
I'm not a fan of Dean Ambrose at all, to be honest with you. I've never been a big fan of him. Even when he was in the Shield, I didn't particularly. I was like, why is this guy the leader? But I would take his championship reign over Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal's it was just a disaster from start to finish.
Oh yeah, it was
He had
awful.
a terrible feud with Randy Orton.
Oh
No one
yeah.
cared
God,
about
that
it.
Oh
was
yeah, and the Punjabi pleasant match with
Just
Carl
terrible,
he,
terrible match.
he had to
Terrible
get it.
champion.
Oh, he shows up as awful.
Yeah.
Oh
And you know, I know they put the bet on him to try and break into the Indian market, but that it
yeah,
didn't work, did it?
it didn't work
You know what I
at
mean?
all. And they kept the belt on him for a very long time. I tell you another one who was crap because I've sort of just finished hit the end of his title reign. Although I didn't watch many of the matches, was JBL like a terrible champion.
oh I hate
Terrible.
I hate JPL as a human being anyway, but like
Yeah. No, he's a
Proper
piece of
crap.
shit. He's a bully.
yeah,
But
Well, it's
he kept
basically when
he
Paul
kept
Heyman
that
said
belt for nearly a year.
Yeah,
That is
yeah, and it was pointless.
that's what I remember when Paul Heyman was saying at the ECW goes, the only reason why you were champion for so long is because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays.
yes.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, mate. It's like I don't understand. I just did not get.
Another one. I love Rey Mysterio, but his reign was crap as well.
Yeah, oh my god.
He was
Oh
so
my
bad.
god, oh my god, he wasn't booked very well at all. Oh, like, there's nice that he held to the big gold belt after the triple threat was a feel good moment, but like every single match after that, he would just it would just
He lost.
ooze and smack and like go ooze, and it felt as though he was it felt as though he was it felt as though he was such a transitional champion for Booker T. Hence, I want to get the belt, no, because that's yeah,
Wow.
King Booker at the time, and that.
yeah,
Well, they only stuck the belt on him because unfortunately Eddie Guerrero passed away.
yeah.
Like a feel good moment.
Yeah, that was it. The entry was like the moment was better than the run.
Yeah, and then you had that awful Randy Orton again. His terrible promo. Eddie's, in hell now and stuff. It's like, oh god, it's like so tasteless.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Worst WrestleMania main event.
Worst WrestleMania event. Oh god.
Yeah.
Triple H and Roman Reigns.
I get all versus Orange Steel. And I'm not a fan of celebrity matches usually as a whole, but to put that on as the main event for the WrestleMania, I think that's often
WrestleMania 11 is a terrible main event.
Yeah, it's
it was Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor, wasn't it?
35 minutes.
Yeah, it was awful.
It really was bad.
That's WrestleMania 32, right?
Yeah, where Triple H is going in as champion. He won the Royal Rumble. That was like the second one they did where he won it. The winner wins the winner of the Royal Rumble.
That was when I checked out. Man,
I don't honestly, mate.
I literally stopped watching the product for about 6 years. I didn't follow any of it. But I would say WrestleMania 11 is the worst WrestleMania. I agree with you.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 11 is the worst. That is terrible. I also think Bret Hart versus Yokozuna was crap as well at WrestleMania 5.
Yeah,
Triple
but
H Randy Orton was rubbish as well at WrestleMania 25. That was
especially
terrible.
when you're supposed to following up from Taker and Shawn Michaels, and and then you just put that fucking snooze fest on for 20 minutes afterwards.
That match had a lot of heat going into it, but then they put that stupid no disqualification rule in. It's like, well, you've killed the match off then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also you should have put Undertaker and Shawn Michaels on as a last match in the card, though.
I don't think anybody was expecting them to completely blow the house down that night.
Well, that's why I think the 26 match, they were like, let's just put this as the main event. Just in case. I mean, it wasn't quite as good as 25, but it was still.
But it's still enjoyable. You should go back and watch that and give it a proper
as I say, it was still great. Obviously, 25 was just in a bottle,
Yeah.
26 is a great match, though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget how good that match is. It's not quite as good as 25, but it's a really good follow-up match.
Yeah.
And that was Michael's. I mean, I consider that his last match. I don't count that crown jewel bullshit match.
That was horrible. Don't.
Yeah. You're going to give us PTSD now.
Yeah. That was a terrible match. That was when I was like, I really think Taker needs to retire now.
Yeah.
It's just not working. And Triple H got injured. I think he tore his pec. Kane was the mayor.
Shawn Michaels was bald.
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels ruined the magic of his fight. I know only it's as an active competitor by coming out of retirement. Oh, it's just horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it wasn't one for the ages, that one, was it?
No.
I haven't really enjoyed. So I'm just putting my headphones in. I don't really rate any of those Crown Jewel pay-per-views they did or have done.
I can barely remember them. I mean, the only one that I sort of kind of remember is when The Fiend won the title against Seth Rollins, and then
but by that point the character was already damaged anyway, because in theory though he should have beaten Rollins and fell by putting it on him straight away, Rollins passes out and the F out his shoulder or down for a free count, and the Fiend's the champion. They didn't do that though. They did the bullshit finish, which basically ruined that character.
I honestly, you mentioned The Fiend. I honestly can't recall off the top of my head. I mean, obviously, rest in peace. I've forgotten his real name. I'm really sorry, but Bray Wyatt. But I've never known
the Thunder.
Yeah, thank you. I've never known a character to be so mismanaged when like the Bray Wyatt thing. I didn't like The Fiend at all. I thought it was quite clever at the beginning, especially that match. That match he had
he
with
was attacking people left, right, and center and stuff like that. And legends and stuff. That was cool. Yeah.
But when that Wyatt family gimmick came, I thought it was so cool.
It was amazing.
That match that the Wyatt family had with the Shield, was it Survivor?
Oh yes,
series,
one of my favorites
matches of all time, and amazing.
Just the fact that even before they started wrestling, it was like holy shit.
But even if you look at the story. But even if you look at the storytelling in the match, it was all about we've got to detach the three of them, because if it's a lot easier to take them out when they're like that as opposed to like that. So, and it was like, okay, we've taken care of Dean Ambrose. Now we can go after Seth Rollins. Now we can go after Reigns, etc. It's subtle, but it's great storytelling, in-ring storytelling.
Yeah.
And they went over in that match. So the Wyatt,
but they kind of had them, bury him at the airport over. It's kind of ruined to that character. And then the character was ruined after the Cena match.
Well, that's like a running gimmick with Cena. I mean, the idea that he beats the Nexus or his team beats the Nexus, it killed that faction dead.
Yeah, it was
It just
actually
goes
unbelievable.
like that's another one of the worst booking decisions of all time. And Cena knew as soon as he went backstage he made a mistake.
Yeah,
That was a Cena call.
yeah, it was.
It was, and he knew instantly he made a mistake.
Yeah.
And you had Jericho, you had Edge trying to convince him, like they need to go over. They're like red hot.
Yeah.
And Cena was like, no, I think for whatever reason he didn't think it was going to work.
Us at the time, yeah.
Well, whatever, but yeah, terrible. At least he admitted he was wrong.
Yeah,
it's just a shame that they never recovered.
Just about 10 years too late.
Yeah. But okay then. One more question, and then we can call it a night, maybe, because we've been going for nearly 3 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. What do you consider? Actually, no, because I think you guys are going to do a WrestleMania stream, so I'll leave that.
Yeah.
Question. Yeah. I'm trying to think of one more.
These quick fire ones down before.
Well, I wasn't planning on doing any. So, who would you rather come out of retirement for one more match? Stone Cold Steve Austin? Or okay, that's the end of that one then. I was trying to think. I can't think of anybody else.
Yes, Stone Cold Steve Austin, because he can he's proved he can still actually and the match actually had with even though Owens exceeded my expectations, to be honest. I'm in a for the for that nostalgic moment, but I was preparing myself for the actual match to be not that right, and it turned out to be better than I expected. It's basically it's just Stone Cold.
Here's a question for you. Now, and then we'll make this the last question. Which is that one match that you really wanted to see? They came quite close to making it, but it never occurred. Like, which is that one match do you think, that's the one that got away? For me, the one that immediately comes to mind is CM Punk during the Summer of Punk, or around about that time, going up against Austin. I felt that was the one match that they came so close to making it, but it never quite came to fruition. Or Austin versus Hogan.
Undertaker thing.
Undertaker and Sting for me, it hurts. It hurts to saying it though that we never got it, even though it happened at a WCW house show, which footage doesn't exist for. So therefore, if anybody corrects in the comment section, it doesn't exist because there's no footage to back it up. So that's got if I don't much prefer to that than for Owens and for you and maybe wouldn't have got but I still injured in that.
Can I be honest? This might be. This is a controversial. I'm sure this is a controversial opinion, but I think the Undertaker versus Sting match would have been a bad match. I think I just got this. I just don't think they would have had any chemistry whatsoever.
It depends on when. I think
they were trying to book it around about WrestleMania 24 and 25, and I think Taker at that point was kind of like, I'd rather wrestle smaller guys, or I don't have many matches left, or I can only do 2 or 3 a year. I want to wrestle someone who I'm familiar with, that I know can somewhat carry me through a match, but someone I can hang with at the same time. Whereas with Sting and Undertaker, like, who takes charge of that match? Like, it couldn't really have been. If there was ever time to have done that match, it should have been during the Invasion angle.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
take a 24. Like I frankly, I think that match he had with Edge was amazing. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very underrated.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
then
brilliant match.
yeah, and would I
Just
trade
the
in what?
spectacle of it. Like I think
Yeah,
the storytelling they could have had there would have been probably better than the match itself would have been, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Whereas Punk at that time could have carried Austin through a really good match.
That's fair.
And I know, or I don't think Hogan and Austin would have been a great match either.
No.
But you would
Nah,
have the
but to be
two
awful.
biggest stars, excuse me, going at it.
Yeah.
I mean, like the 80s, it was like the 80s going up against the face of the company of the 90s and the early 2000s. So just that alone sells the match itself. Whether the match is any good or not, I don't think it really matters. You have those two in the ring with each other.
Maybe Rock and Shawn Michaels, like one-on-one at a
Yeah, that's another one that didn't happen.
Yeah, or something more recent, but Hawking, but Hawking win some. That just never going to happen now for obvious reasons.
I would have loved to
He won't go on.
Yeah.
But it's never going to happen. So
I honestly would have just had Gunther bury Brock Lesnar. I would have made. I would have booked Gunther to make it look easy.
Yeah.
So,
and to be fair, I think Lesnar probably would have put him over anyway.
Yeah.
No, I would almost guarantee Lesnar was losing in that match.
Yeah.
I
think that might have been his retirement match as well, or at least because he was on this sort of retirement run. According to
that's why he endorsed Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Like when
like, guys, do you want to call the conversation and because as you've already said, we've kind of and almost the hour, but like I've put your channel in the description and then the channel on the screen, so if you get any videos upcoming for the channel for me to look forward.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, we need to get our asses back in gear, but we're both very busy at the moment for different reasons. Coming up soon, anyway. But yeah, we're gonna
say that again.
Yeah.
my wife's due literally any day.
Yeah. Congratulations,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate it.
But we will get the ball rolling again soon. It's just when things settle down a bit, then I mean, depends on like we don't really talk about the show we won't mention here anymore because it's like, you know, the ultimate turd fest. But
oh, come on, Phil, there's nothing wrong with Blake 7.
Yeah. 7's a fucking bollocks, mate. I'll have you know.
You know, I've said my piece in the whole Avros video.
That was a very good video, by the way. Yeah. That was a very good video you did.
That was awesome, mate. Yeah.
I could tell you were really upset making that video, which made it arguably better because it was something you were very passionate about.
Yeah.
But yeah, less said about that show, the better. But Daniel, thank you so much for having Sean on, but having me on. It's really good to chat to you.
Always.
I'd be more than happy to do this again if you have me on.
Yeah, you're always I'm on the channel. Just give me a shout and we'll get you on.
Definitely. No, I really enjoyed it. It's good talking wrestling, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice to have a civil debate about things as well. So
this is the beauty of like Daniel and his streams, and like when we come and do this, it's like, and people have noticed it as well. Goes, this is how you have an actual adult conversation with disagreements that don't end up in people like trying to cancel each other. So
hopefully Nia Jax didn't tune into the stream when Daniel just said she's a sack of shit or whatever it was.
Donkey. I've seen Daniel refer to her the other day as well. Yeah. Donkey.
See, that's but she did the donkey. But in terms of myself on the channel, you get this stream coming up in April of myself and Sean doing the WrestleMania retrospective. We'll be doing a eat predictions because they can't hard to be finalised, etc. We both decided to move it to the Friday night as opposed to the Saturday night for logistics because Sean's got a extra point, and and also WrestleMania starts at at 8 for off of Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, WWE have kind of made it a bit more fun for and friendly in that like hard bit it's been nice if they told us that a bit early on because and I didn't have to shut myself and putting off asking Sean to move the stream to the Friday night, but he actually probably but you actually took the pressure off me, but I seen you had to you had that against for so you will be in a baby face
for once.
scenario. So yeah, like, share, and subscribe to the Nerdaholics YouTube channel. The links going across the screen, etc. Right now, and then how did I so many stream to I all and enjoy WrestleMania when it comes around and enjoy the journey.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. If we don't speak to you before then, enjoy WrestleMania.
Yep.